Hello everyone, Brenton here, wearing the St. Pat's Matthews jersey that I got from Ben H Sports. Pretty wicked jersey. Today we're talking about how the closed beta is for NHL 21. Now, of course, for those of you who do or don't know, you can't play any of the game footage on YouTube or stream any of the game footage from the closed beta. To the point where your gamer tag just keeps flashing on the screen everywhere so they know whether you're doing it or not, so they can stop you. But I can talk about it. And yeah, that's what we're going to run through today. So I'm going to do my best, because obviously I can't use visuals, I can't use still images, I can't use anything like that, but at least you guys can get a good idea of where the game's heading if you haven't played, or whether you agree with me if you have played it. Put your comments down below. But let's run straight through it. So, what do I think of the game? Well, I haven't played NHL yet at all. It's a little bit too laggy in Australia to be able to pull that off. But I played a lot of versus. Played 7 games now. 7 full games. Also 7 wins and 0 losses. So that might suggest that I'm going to give this a pretty positive rating. And that's what I am going to do. The problem is that I'm a little bit worried because betas in the past have sucked me in without the arcadey always goals, you know, the ones that I'm talking about. The ability to avoid hits as well by just doing a small little shimmy, which makes no sense. You should still get bumped off the puck, or at least be slowed down and not have full speed at that point. I find that this game is very similar to NHL 20, but a little more refined. And I'll talk more to that. The defensive skills that you can have in this game are heightened a little bit more. It's harder to give away penalties through tripping, which they kind of turned up to 100 the last 2 games, which I think is right in certain scenarios. If you've got your back facing to them, a few things happen, a few situations where, you know, their back's facing you and you do that, it should just be an automatic trip, where before you kind of had to sort of dig around a couple of times. Plus, it was a good way to sort of stop you if you're going down the wing holding the puck away from the defender. It was a good way to just sort of reach in, but you can't really do that anymore. And in this game, you still can't do that. But if the puck's anywhere near you in a front zone, it's very easy to get a stick to it and just whack it away. And that's so much better. But I think where this game really does thrive is that it seems that the sticks and the players are a little bit more active and in play than they were previously. Now, that means periods of play where the puck is kind of bogged down a little bit and it stays in the neutral zone and it doesn't move around as much. But that's what hockey is sometimes. Sometimes hockey is this chaotic thing where there's pucks sort of bobbling around and not getting anywhere. And it's just the way it is. It's, you know, there's battle on the boards in the offensive zone. It doesn't end up in a scoring chance. That's what this game is if you watch it on TV. There's a lot of just kind of that sort of chaos going on. And that's what we love about the game. It's not these free-flowing just rush. There's these prime chances in the slot. And it seems to be a lot easier to defend against these sort of plays. Now, I played 2 people that were currently ranked in the top 100 when I played them. I also looked at their NHL 20 stats, and they're not exactly... They're pretty good. Pretty good players. And I was able to beat them, and I don't think in NHL 20 I would have been able to, because I couldn't take away these always goals. There's certain points where they could just get to, and with relative ease with the speed of some of the players, and be able to shoot. You seem to be able to sort of slow that down in the neutral zone, so once they get into the offensive zone, you can control it a little bit where the play's going. It's very 5-on-5, a little bit more of a chess match. The other thing that I enjoy is that the players' ratings mean a bit more in this than I've noticed in previous games. And what I'll mean by that is Zach Aston Reese is... a couple of times I gave him a one-timer, and one of them went in, one of them didn't. But one of them he hit, and he didn't hit it sweetly. And that's the best way that I can describe it. It came off a little bit slow. It was kind of in the air, a little bit easier for the goalie to get. That's because his shooting rating is low, and his puck handling rating's low. And there's a few other players that you could really see this on. Jack Johnson was a prime example of a player that... I'm not really going to score many goals with him. And I really like that. I really like the idea, especially in versus, that you have to be conscious of your 3rd and 4th line, who's out there, so you're dumping the puck a little bit more, which is way more effective this game than it has been in previous games, by the way, to just dump the puck in. It doesn't sort of do that loop thing. It stays a bit low. You can do the loop as well, every now and then to mix it up, but it seems to be a much more of a dump. Also, the changes are a bit more fluid. I just felt like the game defensively meant a lot more with the extra offensive tools that they have. I also feel that the goalies are a little bit better. And it just allows you to play a bit more of a realistic game. And a cycle game really, really can be effective in this. And there just seems to be a lot more ways to win, at least in versus right now. I don't know how Hut will be. Problem is you can never tweak Hut well because eventually everyone has 95 overalls that can just shoot from anywhere, right? But when you're looking at versus and a balanced game, and this is where like the rank standpoint comes from and esports, it seems to be more balanced. There's a lot more ways that you can win outside of one or two. And that's what I found. It obviously caters to my game more, so I'm going to be a bit biased here. There are some people that are really not going to like the changes that have come in this little beta because it's not arcadey. And I understand that. I would say you're still probably going to get that experience from Hut, but I think where they've got versus right now, and bear in mind it's a beta and there's still so much to change, I really like the gameplay right now. I really enjoy it. And I don't know if this is going to be the way it is or if I'm going to pick up the day one, and just get blown by with these goals just from one or two spots on the ice and just like, yeah, that's the way it is. I can't stop it. You hit them and they just do this weird little shimmy thing and yeah. So I'm really hoping that this is the way it is going forward. Has been a few glitches, but not many. Like, I'm a bit surprised they wanted this closed and didn't get it out there. I feel like most people are aware. Maybe I'm a little bit older, so I can if I made a YouTube video on it, which I would have with the footage, I would have said like, it's a beta, like they're going to fix these things. This is not the final product, but I understand them wanting to protect it. But yeah, I've not really seen many glitches. There was one where Ollie Marta had a penalty, so during the graphic that had his face like about there in the screen, about covering all of that, and it didn't go away. So my friend and I, who at my first game, randomly on my lunch break, I was like, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to get my hands on this in my lunch break. So working from home, by the way, with everything going on. And so I was like, I'm going to have a game. And my friend who I always play hockey with thought the exact same thing. We didn't communicate. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm playing in Australian. That's weird. The connection's really good. And then I looked over and I was like, oh my God, it's him. Of course it is. And we started laughing at each other, just saying we're absolute losers. But yeah, for like half of the second period, we just had Ollie Marta's face just like, boom, right there. We couldn't see past it. But that's a beta, like, that's just what it is. But for the rest of the time, I haven't had any problems at all. Like, I actually think it's way more polished than NFL seems to be. So I don't know what the usual side of it is. So I guess look for more videos like that. But I've enjoyed this, which says a lot because I've not played online for the last few years. I used to have a very high ranking, and I mean, in this channel, there's a video very recently where I versed people as Team Japan online and ran the gauntlet and beat like three or four people in a row, and that's like 45 overall team. So I'm not a bum at this game. I'm pretty decent online, not to toot my own horn, but I just haven't enjoyed it the last few games. I just found it way too arcadey, which I think you've got game modes to be able to do that, but I find this game really enjoyable. It sort of harbours back to maybe like NHL 12, NHL 13 with the defensive systems. Obviously, a little bit biased there because our GM connected. We had a few rules. There were certain goals that you couldn't do, which was, kind of fun. Like, we had a rule that if you won the face-off, you had to pass it once before you shot. You couldn't just shoot off the face-off because obviously that was such an overpowered goal and you couldn't have wraparounds. But outside of that, I haven't seen any always goals yet. I've seen some pretty sick goals. I've seen some really good moves done on me, and I've done a couple as well. And you just kind of like, ooh, that's exciting, because it's kind of moves that I wouldn't have seen in other games as well. They just seem a bit more realistic than they seem like a video game, just in the way that some of these passes are being pulled off. The breakaway is probably the one thing that is like, ooh, boy, that's shooter's advantage. So yeah, don't. If your defense is out of position, you pretty much don't have your defense out of position, because thus far I've had one breakaway against me and I've had two breakaways myself, and all of them have been goals. So it's and I mean good breakaways, not like half breakaways. The half breakaways you can kind of stop them doing the pretty much the Mighty Ducks move, the left right left kind of thing. But yeah, if you do that, it's pretty much going to be a goal. What's the other things? Oh, when the defenders are off the screen, if you're in the offensive zone, that has little grey indicators below to show you where they are. So if you need to pass it back, you know where they are. It doesn't matter what camera that you have, it does that. So that's you wouldn't think that is a game-changing thing, but it is so game-changing having that there. Just knowing, because there's a few times, and I play like an overhead camera, but still sometimes when you're low, you can't see that, and you just pass it back, and you're like, oh, there's no one there. Just because they're doing a change. But now you can see it, and believe you me, it makes such a difference. Just being able to keep in the zone, or knowing sometimes that it's like, oh, I don't have a pass, I'll just put it on the net. And you'll, sometimes might generate a goal from that. But yeah, anyway, that's the whole video. If you do have any questions about the NHL 21 beta, put that in the comment down below. If you've subscribed and you've made it all this way, hit the like button, because you obviously enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed and made it all this way, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, join the club. We're up to 171 now. We're starting to grow this thing, so it's really cool. Really cool to get through, and obviously there's going to be a lot more NHL 21 content. I've got some really fun stuff lined up when that game comes out on top of my usual NHL content. It's going to be pretty well polished and edited. Yeah, I've got some really fun ideas for that, so yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See you, and bye.